Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Deborah, and today I'm going to be doing another of my journal cover ideas. So I'm using the other half of the piece that I used yesterday, and what I want to do is just create something that's a little bit different. So yesterday I covered it all in lace and put a picture on it, and you can go back and look at that video if you haven't already. Today I have got a piece of linen, and I've just cut it and pinked around 3 of the edges. Then one of the edges has already got a decoration on it, so I don't want to pink that, obviously. I want to leave that on there, and this piece will be going down on top here. And then I've taken a number of small pages, so this is from a shorthand book, typewriting book. If I didn't have a small one, I actually tore it up. This is a lovely piece of calligraphy. I mean, the calligraphy's, pretty good, but it's not mine. It's actually my mother-in-law's. She did a lot of calligraphy, and on the weekend we were going through stuff and I found all of these A4 books, the bond pages, which is the type of paper. A lot of them had calligraphy on them, and they're from 1990, so 30 odd years ago, and this is beautifully aged. I also got a couple of these littler pieces from the bottom where she hadn't actually written anything, and I thought that that would be nice too. That's not as aged, but that's okay, it's from the same book. This is a piece of tea-dyed paper, a piece of paper from a book, and another piece of that bond paper, and I have folded them all in half because I want to put them down here on top of this, and I want to sew down the spines of them. So before I do that, because some of them, you can see this has still got the threads from the book where I've pulled it out, but that's okay. And some of them aren't going to sew too well because they've got a hole through them. So I thought some washi tape would hold that together so that I can sew through there and create a little booklet. So this will be a piece that goes on the front of a journal, and it will also have this little journaling spot inside it. So start with some washi, which I haven't put down very straight, but I can't move it now because it won't pull up. It'll actually rip the paper. Try and be a bit careful next time, but I've kind of got it in the centre. Not really, but it'll do. And I'll just see what others I need to do that to. I think there was another little one. So it's actually where the pages come from an actual book, and this is the spine of the book. It probably needs to be put down on those. Having trouble opening this. See how that's got a hole through it? Need to actually reinforce that, which is a pity because I'm covering up all that aging, but it is what it is. So the plan today is to do this cover, and hopefully I'll have another nice cover to use on a journal. I will do this one too, because it is also got a hole through where it's been pulled out of the book. Now, if you watched yesterday's video, you'll know that in February I am starting, and for all of February I will be doing my Finish It February series. So if you didn't get to that point of the video, because I can't remember whereabouts I talked about that, but you can join in with me. And the plan is to finish things in February that have been hanging around for some time. I have several journals that I need to finish. I also have a number of other, not full journals, but part journals that need finishing, and various other bits and pieces. Now I'll put all this writing up the same way. And I actually don't want to put them like in so that they are, large to small. I'm actually going to mix it up a bit with this one. I'll put them off center when I sew them so they're not all the same. Put that one around there. And I've got another little piece of bond that can perhaps go in here. And there's a couple more bits yet. I will do the large one on the outside simply because that will stop it from catching if there's a piece holding it together. I'll turn that the other way though. And then a bit of bond, maybe I can put the other piece of bond paper in here. So just all higgledy-piggledy, I don't really care how they end up. And then this down here. So I've sewn that down. You can see they're all different. I think I managed to get them all up the right way, which is great. And then the back pages of them. They just need to be folded over so you could use both sides. I think that looks pretty good. Got some threads here that need just chopping. Well, you could also leave the threads if you don't mind that. I sort of chop and change. Sometimes I cut them off, sometimes I leave them. So we've got that. They do get in the way a little if I'm sewing something else onto the piece, so I will chop them off. So that's the beginning. Now that's curling a bit because when I sewed it, I pulled the fabric tight so it would sit flush against the paper. But once that's glued down on top of something, it'll be fine. And I think I've got my basket of flowers up the wrong way, but never mind. It's just a decorative piece. It doesn't have to necessarily be up the correct way. So this goes here, and then this flap comes over it, and you'll see I've still got the original binding from that book, which is good that it's still showing there. It's a bit of stuff that I like there showing, and then this piece will flap over the top. So now I want to decorate this piece up, and I've just pulled out some linens and muslin and gauze and things like that, and a few little trinkety things to do that with. So I really have no idea what I'm going to do at this point. So that's fine. Yep, okay. Let's just start by putting something down as a starting point. This is a bit of muslin, or actually it's a bit of cheeseclothy sort of bandage fabric. Muslin is, you know, referred to a term that, you know, is all different things here in Australia. I'm not sure why, but that's what we tend to get. There's no one thing. In my experience, you'll buy muslin and it'll be thick and, you know, won't be see-through, so more like that, which is quite a weave. And then you'll buy muslin like this, which is more of a bandage, you know, those gauze bandages that you get. So when you're buying muslin, you just need to be careful of what you're getting, because you could get anything. Depends what you want. If you're happy with whatever, then that would be fine. And I think I'm going to cover that whole thing in the muslin. I'll have to sew it. That's a starting point, just to put all that down, and then add some other pieces on. So maybe a bit more of this, but it's in the different colour for a start. It's probably the stone washed, and it's also closed in weave. It's not an open weave. Now I should have done this before on that other piece, but the easiest way to cut this, because it wobbles and goes in its own direction, is to fold it up, and then you'll get a piece hopefully that you like. And look, if you don't, just fold it up again and just trim it up. Not that it needs to be exact, but that's fine. And this will just be a layer. I love all this fraying on the edge, so I think I'm going to fray this edge a bit up too. This is good, this stuff, because you can fray it really easily. It doesn't take any energy at all. Some of them you're fiddling with for hours trying to get them to fray, but not this one. This will just pull out, as you can see, very easily. So you get that really nice frayed look. So this one I will put down here just to create that base, and I have got this. I might cut some of this actually. This is just a piece of linen ribbon, bit of leftover that I had. Put that down there, I think. Might have to cut it down somewhat. It's also upside down. I couldn't have that. I don't mind if the linen cloth was upside down, but this one I want up the right way. Just do some placing and see how far we get and whether or not I like what's going on. and then I'll go and sew it all up. I also have some of this linen. So this is some French linen, which is just beautiful. Feels so nice when you're playing with it. So I might cut a bit of this too. Cut that little square out there. Do some positioning or repositioning. I think I'm going to have to put that over that. That might be a bit long, that one. Might just trim the end off. Not liking that at all. So I'm not sure what I'll do with that now. I might actually put it under here. I've just got a found relative out. It's a bit scratched up, but it doesn't matter because it's just, you know, junkier then, isn't it? I'm not sure why. It's got some scratching stuff on it. And I want to put it in here. This would be good to put on the front of a family history book because you've got the relatives in here. And maybe I'll put this one here. Maybe not. And I also have, maybe I should try with a doily or some lace. So that was a little bit of a struggle because it was moving all over the place. So everything's kind of shifted, but I'll just have to learn to live with it. It doesn't look too bad actually. And it actually, I haven't sewn right to that edge and I've left that long. I was going to cut that off before, but I'm glad I didn't now because I like how it's kind of come around. Now, I haven't actually stuck the photo down at all. So I might have to sew that on there afterwards to stick it down. It's just sewn on the edge here and plus it's caught just under there. I might just go and sew that after I do some other things, but I'm not sure that I'm going to. I think I might leave it. Now, let's put some stuff on it. So I've got some bulb pins and also some normal little tiny pins. The other thing I've got is this number 1. I'm wondering if I can put that on there around her head. Why not? That is very old, that piece. Still standing up though, pretty good. And also I have these. Now I've got all sorts of little funny things in here. Actually, I think I might use the pearly droplet things. Remember that this is the front of a journal, so it can have some dimension. And then down here, I'm just going to put a pin by itself. What do you think? Is that enough on there? I think it might be. That pin might be a bit heavy for the little bobble things. They might be a bit heavy for it. So that would then get stuck down and become your journal cover. Now this is the one I did yesterday. And I've actually been looking at it and it's, I think I'm going to cover it up. I love the fabric as quilt fabric, but as a journal cover, it's probably just a little too bright for me. And I thought just looking at that muslin then, that if I sewed some muslin over the top of it, I think I'll have enough just, then I think it will look much better like this. Spread that out and I'll just run that around there. And then I can add some more stuff on top of it. So let's look at what we've got. We've got, make sure it's up the right way. Yes, it is. This is just a placemat that I used to own. Well, I still own it, but I used to use it on the table, but I don't now. So I've sewn this on, sewn the muslin on, sewing this piece down. I didn't worry about those other pieces. You can see you get that nice effect when it's folded. And then on the inside, I took the rest of that placemat and I sewed it down to cover the words, but you can still see them. I think that's very cool. Look, I like that a lot. I did that on that other one yesterday. And now I just need to trim back the edges to get this so that it's not overlapping too much. I'm just going straight through all of the muslin and everything and just roughly cutting that I want it to be raggedy, and hopefully this fabric will fray a bit over time. I won't worry about that edge, just the inside edge here. This one. I think that's much better than it was. For me, I prefer it with a bit of, you know, that muted tone, and I really like this look here. I have to do some more of this. So I think that looks great. This needs to come off though, it's a bit too big. It's not going to fray, so I'm just going to have to trim it. Because of all that embroidered work on it, it won't probably fray for me. So then you could sew a signature or two into this, depending on what size signatures you do. This is probably more my style, but this is trying to push myself and also to use up some of my lovely quilt fabric. So I hope you enjoyed both of those, and I'll have to try and do some more journal covers, I think, and see if I can make something interesting with fabric and paper and such. But meanwhile, thanks for watching. This is Deborah. Cheers.